Are you trying to get your shift together?
Welcome to the Shift Sisters podcast, where real conversations inspire real transformations. We're not experts, but we're experiencers. I'm Sandra.
And I'm Jennifer Richter.
We're your Shift Sisters.
Whether you're shifting like a sloth or it looks like you're having an exorcism, this is your space to breathe, reflect, and remember. We're here to talk shift with you. What might it mean to start looking at your health like solving a puzzle? Welcome back, Shifties. I'm your host, Jennifer Richter. Alongside my co-host and poetic shift sister is Sandra.
Hello, everybody.
We are so honored that you have decided to join us for another conversation about growth, healing, and transformation. That is our jam. That's what we're all about here. In today's episode, it's beyond symptoms. So we're exploring how symptoms act like clues in an escape room. Each piece of the puzzle reveals more about your body's story. Using insights from external tools, I'm going to do my best to try to teach you how to use your intuition to understand these clues that your body is giving you. So get ready to shift your view on health from surface symptoms to solutions in unlocking your health. Sandra, please tell me you have a shift forecast today.
Girl, I have shift forecasts every day.
You're like, I have 3 a day, thank you.
I know, exactly. Why don't you check in with me in another hour and I'll tell you my forecast at that time. Yes, girl. So today in my shift forecast, when I sit down and I close my eyes and I think about how I'm feeling, it's a little patchy hope. So there's my kind of internal system of bright and happy and, excited to be on this podcast with you. So that's the hope and that's the happiness that's there. But there is some stuff that's happening that's a little patching my sunny ways, right? And I'm sitting here saying to myself, God dang it, shake it off. Like, shake it off. So it's mostly sunny with these little, annoying clouds. And I am telling you, I am going to kick them. I'm going to disintegrate them. I'm going to burn them through my sun rays. But right now, at this point, I'm that patchy hope. And maybe later on, I'll be super sunny and no clouds in the sky. But that's where I am today.
You know, you had to have seen that video. It's my favorite with the cop driving around singing Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. And then when he would see people, he would all of a sudden get straight, but,
Yes.
and serious. And then when no one was around, he's jamming to Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. That's my favorite. If you haven't seen it, you have to look it up. It'll definitely brighten your day.
Yes, I need all of that. Or I have to pull a little Kathy Grippy magic and start laughing.
Biohack that happiness.
Biohacking that happiness and doing those ha-ha-ha-has. I feel like I might need to incorporate that. But we have the tools, right? We can make it. We can turn it around.
We do have the tools and we know how to use them. It's just about opening the toolbox, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, I'm a little dreamy and energetically full. It's not necessarily because of, any holidays or any weather or anything like that, but just feeling it and feel it's like that calm, even peacefulness. So I am enjoying it because it's like when you're in a boat and the ocean is super wavy and it's finally calmed down. That's how I feel right now. So yes, I love that part. Are you sipping on anything yummy?
I am sipping on a chocolate chai latte. So it's a blend of it's loose leaf tea and it's a blend and it's chai with some chocolate and it's just so warm during these colder months. And it just feels so like a hug in a mug. And I just needed some of that today because of my patchy hope. But
Is it a regular chai? So
so
it has the black tea in it, or is it made with Rubios or
it's
something?
made with Rubios because you know me, I cannot have black tea. So
Neither can I, but because I'm allergic, you can't have it because you'll get extra crazy.
girl, I become the Hulk. Did I not? Have you ever seen me on caffeine? I become wicked. I just don't ever give me caffeine. So, and it's not that I can. Let me say something because I know I talk about matcha on the podcast. I can have little bits of it, but if I have a cup of coffee, like a regular cup of coffee, it just throws me off. But it's a Rubios and it's a tea blend from David's Tea.
Mm.
It's every time I wanna feel that, like, warmth and from the inside
Yep.
out, I pull that one out for me.
I love that. That's when I drink that hot toddy. It's made of the Rubius as well too, but it's
Yes.
spicy. I have got to tell you about this because, girl, it's something you're going to die. So when I did last April, did a wellness retreat. I guess that's what you would call it. It wasn't. I don't know. There was no title to it, but anyways, we did this little weekend away retreat, and there was a cute little farmers market down the road that we went and walked down to, and one of the vendors was this company called Tea Tell Truth. And this lady is from China, and it's all her organic teas, and she has such detail and story behind each one of them. But there is this, have you seen this? It's so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
It's a blue lotus flower, and she has a ton of different like flowers like this that you steep too. Obviously, a lot of hers are loose leaf, but not often do you get a full flower in something. And she's got yellow ones and purple ones, but they're amazing, and it's got a ton of health benefits. Have you ever heard of that?
So, is it like a whole flower and it, like,
It
sprouts
is.
open? Yes, I've seen those. I actually have one that I've never steeped, so that's gonna be my motivation. But,
Oh, yes.
tell me about the tea. How it like, is it very light tasting or
It is light tasting, and it says, like, it reduces stress and anxiety, and
Mm,
a ton of what do you call it, anti-inflammatory properties. So, I don't know, I'm working on this whole connective tissue thing and additional proteins in my body, which help from having, like, those poppy, cracky joints
yeah.
and achiness, and so I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna try this and see if it can, pair with all the good things that I'm doing."
I'm telling you, the sips is just another tool, right? Like, when we think
Mm.
about all the ways we can incorporate health benefits from our sips, and some of it is fun and you drink it for enjoyment, and others, just like this, the tea is supporting, areas of health that you have, so yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I've been like, because inspired by Ashton, my 18-year-old, like, if I'm going to drink a warm, delicious, or any drink, right? Like, I want something warm. What else in my life am I already trying to target? And can I pair it with what I'm consuming? And so before, I never did that. I was just drinking, oh, this is peppermint tea because I have it and I know it and I always drink it. No, I want to drink something intentional now.
Yeah, yes.
It's really shifted my mindset. I don't know if you have this one. I'm gonna share with you the scents that shift us for today for beyond symptoms, but I have clary sage. Do you have that one in
Let me
your toolkit?
see if I have it in my toolkit.
I think it's like one of those that I like to mix with other ones because I don't I mean, it's okay. It's soft, it's floral. I don't necessarily care for the scent all by itself. I do
Mhm.
like to mix it with maybe like a citrus or yeah, I think citrus is my best combination for it, but if you have some, put
That's
some on your
where
wrist.
from.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that's got clary sage in it, so you can still use that. That's
Okay.
like a pre-made blend, but, clary sage is for clarity and vision, and I am recommending this today because we're talking about finding that clarity in our bodies, learning how to do body talk, learning how to shift our mindset when we look at the symptoms that we're experiencing and how to look at them from a perspective of an escape room, right? This gamify. And so, Clary Sage, clarity and vision assist individuals in changing their perceptions. One of the finest oils for the brow chakra, Clary Sage dispels darkness and illusion, helping individuals to see their limiting belief systems. It can assist during a healing crisis when a drastic change of perspective is required. Opening individuals to the dream world, Clary Sage increases the ability to visualize and imagine new possibilities. Clary Sage also teaches the spirit how to use its divinely given gifts, and it's especially helpful in clarifying spiritual visions. So maybe with some of the stuff that's causing your patchy hope,
Um,
will help fill in the patches and you'll have some different perspectives and see new opportunities to work through them.
I love that. When you were reading it, I was like, "Yes, this is exactly what I needed today."
That's why I get all tongue tied sometimes because my brain is so damn busy. I start thinking about all the things this is related to. And then I have to calm myself down and say, girl, you got to finish reading before you can even mention it. And I'm like, does anybody else have three conversations in their head at the same time or is it just me?
All the time.
So, it sounds like I seriously need hooked on phonics sometimes, but just
Mhm.
bear with me. Well, today I am going to share with you how to investigate and solve the puzzles to unlock your health, because that's what I do. I, though, have to say, and Sandra, you may feel the same, don't take tips from someone that is always an ailment and loves to only talk about their ailment, and they look like they're trying to get advice, right? They want to get your tips and tricks, but they don't really implement them and they don't really want to get better, right? It's like this weird thing. It's like their way to connect with you. And if you're going to take some wellness tips, really take it from people that are showing that they're getting over to the other side,
Mhm.
right? They're dedicated, they're implementing them, because I feel like some people just use their ailments and they just, I don't know, it's like attention. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, it's like that girlfriend that you have that is always, like, arguing with her partner and, has really just not the most positive relationship, and as much advice you give or as much it's like they wanna stay in that space
Mhm.
as opposed to kind of move out of it or things like that, and it's just like, "But why?" So, yeah, I feel that. I totally get that, and I don't wanna claim anything, right, in my health
Yes.
journey. I just if I see it, it's like, "Okay, where are we what are we doing with this?" As opposed to,
Mhm.
I'm claiming that this is just me and that's all that it is. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I feel
because I
that.
see myself kinda moving through things, like at an amusement park.
Yeah.
Sometimes those dumbass lines are 3 hours long, some of them are
Mhm,
30 minutes long, but you're continuing to move through it, right, and get
mhm,
to the other side, and I don't wanna stay in a negative health space, and
ever.
so I do like to talk about them, because I like, to brainstorm and get different tips from other people that I can try and different perspectives, but boy, that is not how I connect with people through ailments. So take
100%.
your advice from people that are having success and specifically what connects with you, what
Mhm,
resonates with you and feels right. I am doing this body talk that I've been teaching myself for years that I'm going to try to teach you guys today, but I pair it with my professionals, right? Like I help it to lead me. So I might go to an acupuncturist or a chiropractor or functional medicine physician and say, "This is what I'm feeling. Can we look into this?" kind of thing. So it's all in conjunction. I'm not trying to be a doctor and do it all myself. We are not doctors. We're
mhm,
not giving you health advice. We're here just giving you our experiences that we're sharing on how we navigate our own health and partner with professionals, because I'm not going to lie. I've had more letdowns in the medical industry than I have support systems, and I've really had to learn to advocate for myself. But you can't advocate for yourself if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your body and you don't know your patterns and habits. And you might not know how to correct it all by yourself, but you really should know at least what you're trying to target. Get ready to drink from a fire hose, everybody.
I'm ready to take the wild ride.
I have really tried to narrow this down. It's a lot because, with my life, I grew up, oh my gosh, Adam didn't even believe me, but I'm going to tell you the details, and it is disgusting. I grew up in this house that my mother was a heavy, heavy chain smoker. She smoked inside the home. So there was nicotine that would drip down the walls because she definitely was not sanitary. There was no genuine cleaning.
Mhm,
Uh, we regularly on the regular, lived with rodents. We had not mice, but rats in
mhm,
our home. If you sat down on the couch, they would come up through the back to try to like bite your butt. And we had them running on the rafters, and the laundry room was beyond putrid. And then you go a little further, no surprise, the house has got mold everywhere.
yeah.
And if no one has ever even seen the small side effects, much less the huge side effects that come with being exposed to mold, you would be mind blown. And so I lived my first, let's see, we moved into that house when I was 6. So I spent about 12 years in that environment. I was not very healthy, as you can imagine. And then actually, once I moved out of that house, I got even worse
Hmm.
because I didn't know how to take care of myself. I had never seen an ounce of health. But then my body was reacting to all the new things in my environment. And I was in the emergency rooms and hospitals all the time for kidney things and migraines and low iron. And I could just go on and on and on, but it was always something. And it just wasn't the way I wanted to live.
Sure.
And it took a lot of conversations between strangers and people I knew to get some tips on what ways I should start looking into taking care of my health.
Mm.
I like to make everything gamified. I know you do too, Sandra. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's the teachers in us because I mean, when you have fun with something, you learn more.
Right.
And I think it's easier on your body, kinda like when we did the biohacking happiness, right? You're laughing. Maybe you're not feeling funny when you start it, but it just clears your genes and your cells. It changes your DNA because laughter is an amazing medicine. So, having fun with something that's really heavy is important for me because otherwise I'm not motivated to do it.
Right.
I get very I don't know the word, but anyways, it just like feels like a weight on me and I don't like to do it. So I think of this health discovery like an escape room metaphor, so to speak. Have you ever actually done an escape room, Sandra?
Yes, yes.
In
It's
person or virtual?
in in person.
Okay.
Yes. And they're the best. You're there and it's exciting because you're gonna conquest something. You're going to
Mhm.
conquer something. So you're going into that mental set of like, yes, this is exciting. And you get in and it's overwhelming, right? There's just all these things on the walls and there's keys and there's trap doors and you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm overwhelmed. There's just so much going on. But then you start to focus. You look at the little space on the right of you and you see that there's a little puzzle, and then you complete that puzzle and something opens and you get that 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 hit of like, yes, I can do this.
Yes.
And the more you encounter and you go on, after by the end of the hour, you're at the end and you say to yourself, I figured this out. So I love me a good puzzle and a good escape room. And I could definitely see the analogy to all of this because of the overwhelming nature of just when you think of health. But then when
Mhm.
you start when things start to open up, it starts to demystify the
True.
fear and all of that. So
Well,
like,
think about it too. Like you said, when you go in there, it's so overwhelming. You actually don't even know where to start.
no,
Because your game master, right? They go in there, tell you, "Here, push this button if you need a clue," so on and so forth, but they don't tell you where to start,
no, no.
and they don't tell you in which order things go in, and I feel like you also have to remember you're with a team.
Yeah.
You're right? You're doing it with other people, and so that's why I say get your shift circle together. Get your people in your life that are health focused or even professionals that are health focused that can be a part of your escape room team to help you put some clues together to find the answer to the puzzle.
Mhm.
Well, let's start with something simple.
Okay.
Face mapping. Have you ever done face mapping, Sandra?
I have not.
Okay. Have you ever heard of it? Oh, okay. Well, a lot of people I think would think of if you were to see a face mapping chart, which I'll link one into our toolkit and everything, but they would think it looks like a zit chart. For like teenagers, they'd be like, "What are you doing? Just like finding out where your zits are?"
Yeah.
But your face chart, face mapping actually is similar to like a reflexology chart,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So on your reflexology chart, it'll say, "Oh, this part's your spine or this part's your gallbladder." Very similar to that. And I'm gonna give you an example, and I'm pretty sure that most people have probably seen babies born with that birthmark right between their eyebrows,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And so that part is actually the liver, okay? And so I wanna give you an example. I was born jaundice, right? My body is not processing the bilirubins the same. What part needs to process all that?
Deliver.
The liver,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And so even at birth, my face, my body is telling us what's going on. And so, down here at your chin, right, you'll see sometimes women, when it's their cycles, they'll break out around their chin, and that's your hormone system, that's your reproductive system. Right here, I don't know if you've ever eaten after Thanksgiving or something like that, or maybe Christmas when you're eating extra cookies and junk, and you might break out just a little bit right in this line.
Mhm.
That's your stomach line. And so for me, it's not just about what's going on in my face because you could get a rash, you could get, just a little different in color, you could get a blemish. And it doesn't matter how old you are. Clearly, it can happen at birth. It can happen as a teen. It can happen as an adult. And a lot of people will say, like, gosh, I'm too old to have acne. I can't believe I'm breaking out. What's going on? Well, it's not necessarily acne, it's your body detoxing, but also giving you a clue
Yeah.
as to what's going on internally so that you can address it. If it's stomach, maybe you need to have more probiotics or get that Trader Joe's ginger tea out and be a Joe Ho and get yourself some
Yeah.
ginger lattes. Have you ever seen all those teenagers that drink energy drinks
Oh, sure.
and then their nose looks like a dang pizza?
Yeah.
It's like pimple everywhere.
Mhm.
Well, that's all the heart is on your nose, and that's way too much caffeine for
Right.
those little bodies, and it's coming out and it's expressing. This is stressing your heart. This is too much. So, there's just different zones in your face, and it's going to give you a clue. If anybody was to just take a simple Google search and say Chinese face mapping or face mapping chart, you will find it and it will help you to gather some clues as to what's going on with your body.
Wow.
So, one of the things that I use.
That's pretty amazing. Like, I've always been fascinated, like, the reflexology charts and things.
Mhm.
Also, you know how they say your teeth are related to each
Yes.
part of your your organ.
Eyes too. They have iridology. Yeah.
So it's fascinating how your body, you tend to forget how interconnected everything is,
Yes.
right? And it's all working together, but you're so hyper focused on,
Mhm.
your liver pain, or you're hyper focused on just your stomach, when it's like, well, there were clues on your face, on your feet, on your teeth, or wherever, that were giving you in advance that you probably didn't pick up on because you didn't realize the interconnectedness of it all. So, yeah.
Yeah, and what do we say all the time? Like the body whispers before it screams.
Mhm.
And so maybe that little blemish on your face is the whisper
Yeah.
before your stomach is in full breakdown digestive mode. So maybe you can get ahead of it and give it some ginger tea, little hot lemon water, something like that, and get into the detoxing.
Amazing. I'm looking at
I know. I'm like, I'm excited for your next face breakout so you can tell me what you have.
so I have one right here. If it's
Okay.
fading away, but I was just, when you were talking, I'm like, I guess that's my stomach area, or,
Yep. It's a stomach chart.
yeah,
Yep. Well, even stress, right? You can have stress in your stomach and things like that. So that our body processes all of it, the emotions and the physical things.
absolutely.
So let's talk about one of my other clues that I like to use is the sleep timing and body clocks. So this is also another thing that you can look up and you could just Google like a sleep time chart or Chinese sleep clock. And I used to teach this a lot when I did regular essential oil classes because typically I find when women start to become like perimenopausal, they'll start to complain about their sleep being disrupted
Mhm.
on a regular basis. And so maybe they'll say, like, I'm waking up every night around 2 o'clock or somewhere in between, 1 and 3. And that, for example, is your liver, right? So when you look at this clock, each hour on this chart will show you what body part it's associated with, but it will also show you the elements. There's like Chinese elements, right? Like fire, water, earth, metal, that kind of thing. So, again, if it was something you would be interested in, then you would partner with a Chinese medicine doctor because then they would help to pair these things with you. But if you're waking up regularly, for example, at 2 a.m., that's your liver. So who knows if you're a heavy drinker, if you're in menopause, if you're dehydrated, if you're angry or irritated, The liver is believed to be the most active in detoxifying and processing emotions during that time.
Oh, wow.
So, regularly waking up during that time shows that there's an imbalance somewhere. You could be under or over, right? And have unresolved emotions. Maybe you just had a really bad argument with somebody and you're holding on to it and it's just lingering and you're continuing that whole week to wake up around that time, your
Mhm.
body is having a hard time processing those emotions. Could be digestive, it could be hormone related. There's a lot of things like that. But when I did my body talk, when I was going through this short stint of waking up around 2 o'clock, um, I asked my body, what is it that you need right now? And of course, I heard hydration, which I'm like, okay, well, hydration, but for what? Like, why? And spirit or my body or whatever it was showed me really dry Play Doh and then said, stretch that. And I was like, "Oh god, you
Yeah.
can't stretch crusty old, really dry Play-Doh." So is that what's going on in my body? And my body is not able to detoxify and
Mhm.
properly support a healthy hormone production? Like, what's going on? So I love the body talk because I get these really fun visual clues and they're hilarious. So I'll never forget that I don't wanna look like dried Play-Doh.
Ever. Never. And I won't ever let you look like dry Play-Doh.
I mean, I got a lot going on, but I earned those up there, so.
Wow, isn't that amazing how you can be in dialogue, right, with your
Uh-huh,
body and it's during those quiet moments because as you were saying how the body whispers and sometimes we're not listening to those whispers. So
mhm,
it's like, "All right, girl, when you're in bed and you're sleeping, I am going to make myself, my presence be known so
mhm.
that you can acknowledge it and acknowledge me and what's going on." So what a fascinating what a fascinating system we have with our body.
When you have anything that disrupts your sleep, if you experience that, I don't know, do you lay there and toss and turn and tell your body how irritated you are with it and what the F is wrong with you? Why can't you go back to sleep? Ah! Or, like, how do you handle it?
Oh, girl, sometimes I start to think, those thoughts as well. It's like, "Why are you waking me up? I'm so tired
Mhm,
and I really need this rest. Tomorrow I have a big day." And then other times I start to overthink and I take that opportunity to almost like abuse my body more by overthinking, right? Because
mhm.
none of that is positive. You're not sitting
No.
there saying, "Oh, thank you so much for, having me go to the bathroom at this time." You're just sitting there, rah, rah. And so now that you asked me that question, it's like, well, that's just put it to my forefront that I'm not being as kind as I need to be. And I would never do that to an infant. I would never
Yep.
do that to a friend where I'm like, "Go back to sleep. What's your problem?" You would lull them back to sleep. You would cradle them. You would play, soft music. So yeah, thanks for like bringing that to my attention.
That was what I was gonna say exactly, like, if you had a little child in the house, your child or niece and nephew, and they had a bad dream or maybe growing pains with leg cramps and things like that and needed, a leg, massage or something like that, you would be tired as heck, but you're still gonna be lovingly nurturing them and giving them what they need, and I too am like, "Okay, I don't wanna beat myself up for something that is clearly trying to communicate with me. And I want to give myself that loving, nurturing time too, even though I might even do it with my eyes closed.
Yeah. Hmm.
Sometimes it'll be 2 in the morning and I will just start a bath. I'll run a bath and I'll do it with all the fixins, the bubbles and the essential oils and Epsom salts and stuff like that. And I will just partially sleep, right? Relaxing in the tub because my body needs some type of nurturing and I'm going to find a way to give it to it. And that's all I can do. Otherwise, I feel like beating yourself up makes it worse and keeps you awake longer.
It does. It's so toxic and it's so, can you imagine like your liver is already angry about something and then you're giving it more anger? Like it's just
Yep.
not healthy in that sense. And once again, I think it's something that's automatic that I didn't stop and think about and say, hey, how am I talking to myself during those times when I'm frustrated because I need sleep? And that's what sleep also does to you. The lack of sleep just throws you so off. And instead of, like you said, I love your thought about taking a bath at that time, because at least if you're not getting the full deep sleep, you're giving yourself rest. And I
Mhm.
think that is the key to all of that.
Gotta love yourself more and have some more positive body talk, right?
Mm.
Well, I know that you know this one. So, we're going to talk about symptoms that you didn't know were actually an allergy.
Mhm.
This is, I mean, any of these topics I could go really deep on, but this one is my jam because I get so upset with the allergy industry and the allergists in general that do not educate people fully, that your allergies can be more than a digestive upset. It can be more than just a little rash. It could be more than, having to have an EpiPen because it's so serious. It can be things like maybe your handwriting changes, which nobody handwrites anymore. Everybody types, let's get real. Your handwriting would change dramatically, like the chicken scratch, after you had something that you were allergic to. Or if you've ever seen people with those purplish circles around their eyes, that is a symptom of allergies. For years, I thought I was having just eye strain from time to time, and I would feel it in the back of my eyes in the sockets, and they would just feel so strained. And I thought, gosh, I must not be wearing my glasses enough, or maybe I need a new prescription. And it was very intermittent, and I couldn't figure it out why. And in my allergy clues, I discovered that that was an allergy to a particular item. You can get like depression, right? Where you're ready to burn everything down. There's no hope for anything. And you're like, this is it. I can't handle it. Let's sell the house. Let's move. Let's get a divorce. Like, it's just extreme. And it
Yeah.
feels like it comes out of nowhere and it trickles down little by little, after the allergy for about 3 days, but paying attention to your body is the only way you're gonna figure this stuff out.
Mhm.
You can get rage and outbursts like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kinda thing, where you'll see those. I know people notice it a lot in children
Mhm.
in school settings or whatnot. They'll be having snack time and everything was good all morning long until snack time. And then after that, little Johnny's trying to stab someone in the eyeball with a pencil and losing his shit, and nobody knows why. And they just
Mhm.
think, oh, he's so naughty. Well, no, it could be the dyes that are in the food. It could be a simple thing like an orange. What if you're thinking you're sending him something with something healthy? And what if he's straight allergic to oranges, right? Like you do not know until you start to pay attention to the clues and then get some tests done to help navigate this. My teacher back in the 80s, oh my gosh, allergies was just not very uh, commonly talked about back then, but my teacher is the one that figured it out. She noticed that after lunch, because I would, have my chocolate milk out of the carton with lunch every day. And after lunch, she said my handwriting was completely different. My focus was so different.
Mhm.
And she's the one that figured out that I had a food allergy and brought it to my mother's attention.
Wow. Wow. One doesn't realize all of these things, and it's funny, like, you're sharing all of it, and I remember just certain, as kids, my mom used to use safflower oil and, like, just regular stuff, Mazola, all that. And my brother and I, if she would make something fried, we would both complain of grease headaches. And
Mm,
I've never heard of anyone say that. And to this day, like, he'll say to me, I have a grease headache, and
interesting.
I don't use those type of oils anymore, and I don't have that issue, but it's just such an interesting response to the usage of certain oils, right? And I love the taste of oatmeal. I cannot eat oatmeal, uh, because it makes me enraged. I know that sounds odd, but it's, something that I started to pick up on and notice, and it's like the whole caffeine piece.
That's in
When I was picking up on all of those things, I said, "Okay, I'm just never gonna have oatmeal," or, I just can't enjoy a cup of coffee, or so it's is something that is more prevalent than I think people realize,
Mhm.
and I don't think it is something that, those 2 pieces are put together in that puzzle. I think it's
Well,
just, Go ahead.
yeah, they're not, and it was mind-blowing to Adam, right? Because he thought because I was already aware of my allergies when we got married, he just thought when he's having this allergy that I can see he's having, and he is ready to burn the house down, and he's so depressed, and there's no hope, and
Yeah.
he's reacting that I'm just being hard to deal with for the day. And when we did allergy test and he started realizing that he had allergies and then how they correlated those things on the list correlated to those feelings, he was like, "Oh my god, that's my reaction. It wasn't you. It was me overreacting. It was me melting down and freaking out and thinking everything was over." But think about that though. How many people in relationships, it could be married or friendships or even with your own children, are having like dysfunctional relationships because everybody's flipping out over an allergy.
100%, 100%. And I think, yeah, like, as I said, when I used to get my grease headaches, I would just withdraw,
Mm,
and I would just not interact, and some people are deemed as moody, and, you change things around, but if you realize maybe you have eggs instead of oatmeal in the morning, that might, make things different and change things. So,
yeah.
yes, it's bringing it out to the forefront and into the light and having these conversations, I think, may help people to stop and assess and take inventory of just, is it, some people say, I'm not a morning person, and maybe I'm not, but maybe there's reason behind it that I don't know about, right?
Mhm.
Maybe there's something I'm eating the night before. Maybe there's, I have to dig a little deeper other than just what's on the surface.
You do. You have to look at the clues because there's always a reason behind everything. And I feel like most people are going to be pretty, they're going to know their baseline.
Yeah.
And anything outside of that is a clue. I could go so deep into this because you know me, I'm like,
Yeah.
let's see what past life links there are to the allergies and what ancestral stuff didn't get cleared up that we need to clear up because I could go down the rabbit hole. But, have you ever felt like you're allergic to a person?
Oh, girl, that's a loaded question. Gosh.
So maybe, right, you are just the thought of being around a person evokes certain feelings, right? Like maybe your body starts getting hot and overheated. Maybe your heart starts, pumping extra fast. And believe it or not, I would like to say you could be allergic to people.
Mhm, mhm.
'Cause some of them do irritate me like that. But you actually can't be allergic to a person, but think about that. They could be carriers. They could have hitchhikers
Yes,
on them that you're allergic to. Maybe they're using super toxic laundry soap and you have chemical sensitivities,
yes.
or maybe they work at a place that uses the Fabuloso and they're mopping the place at night and then they smell like that when they come home. And again, you're allergic to it.
Right.
Or if they're in a moldy environment that you or they weren't even aware of, but you just like get this reaction around them. But maybe you don't smell mold. You don't see it. Mold is spores, it's airborne. It can embed in your hair and your clothes and things like that and not be visible.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe you have a reaction around a certain person, and they could just have hitchhikers on them, and you don't even know it.
I don't know if this is along the same line, because now I'm like, "Oh, I'm thinking about it." So, there was someone, in my life that, whenever I would get close, there was something in his maybe perspiration or just, like, his scent that
Mhm.
would make
Trigger
me nuts.
you.
Yes, I would go, like, crazy. Not in a good way. This is not in a good
Mhm.
way crazy. And I'm wondering, like, what was his body emitting that would make me have that reaction. And this person was a heavy drinker. So maybe there was something there that sparked, and it could have sparked up an emotion, right? Of like,
Uh-huh.
so now that you say this and ask this question, and I kind of take a second to think about it, I'm like, I think I was. I think I was. Maybe not allergic in the biologic sense, but maybe
Yeah.
in the like emotional sense. But
Mhm.
that's a good question.
Right, because your body is seeing whatever it is as danger.
Yeah.
And, like, Adam used to be severely allergic to Zest soap. Ages ago,
Mhm.
he was using it, and he was breaking out in heavy sweats and hives and nauseous, and he couldn't figure it out, and then he would be so disgusting from sweating, he'd go jump in the shower. What would he use? He would use Zest soap again, and then it would start the reaction all over again. So, say if he was around somebody or touching someone that had washed their body with that, would he have a reaction?
Yeah.
Maybe a mild one,
Mhm.
maybe in the sense of just being hot, overheated, or maybe just being irritated, and he would never know, right? And
Right.
you just might feel like, God, that person annoys me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. There is one other thing I do want to talk about when it comes to allergies. So, my mom, we would have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We would eat nuts and all these other things, right? All good. In her feast, she had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. And then at 6 o'clock that night, she was going into anaphylactic shock. 6 hours later, right? And I was just telling the story to Michael this week, and he said, that doesn't make sense. Like, how does she have a reaction?" And we went to the ER. Even the doctor was like, she was in bad shape. Like, she was,
Mhm.
really struggling. And we had this long conversation about how these things start to develop. And it's not something that's, it just doesn't happen in your childhood and it's all there, right?
It's every 7 years.
Your allergies these types of things can just start to pop up, and maybe there were signs that she
Mhm.
didn't recognize. So maybe she ate a sandwich once and then her mouth tingled, but she didn't, put those two things together. So I just, want to caution people that
Mhm.
sometimes these things will come out of the blue if we're not listening to our bodies.
Well, I say, our cells cycle and regenerate every 7 years. So you get things that could be healthier, right? You could
Right.
get things that are eliminated. You could get things that you've had forever. Like I used to have cilantro all the time, and I'm not the soap or metal kind of person. That's a gene thing.
Mhm.
I love the flavor of cilantro. I used to get it all the time. And then, yeah, I just all of a sudden became
So,
allergic to it, and I would break out in hives every time I had it.
yeah.
And I had it all the time before,
Yeah.
right? So I would have never thought that it would been the cilantro because I never had a reaction previously, but your cells do change. And so, the more you can support your cells, hopefully the more it will eliminate those negative things. But absolutely. I'm going to link in our toolkit. I have about 6 different scientific studies that show the different and more uncommon reactions that people wouldn't know to look for with allergies,
Yeah.
right? Different anxiety,
Mhm.
depression, behavioral things. They're all very, very intense, but they're not talked about enough. So I'm going to link some scientific studies for those that want to dig a little deeper and do some research into that and maybe find an allergist that does speak that language. And sometimes it's an ENT that does it. You kind of have to, just research and find your person and interview them. They work for you and say, what is your belief on allergies? What are some uncommon symptoms that I might not know to think of? And if they're just giving you the typical skin or digestive or anaphylactic, then they're limited. Keep
Yes.
digging deeper.
Awesome.
The spine. I
Mm.
don't know if you have ever looked into your nerve health, Sandra.
Mhm.
Have you been to a chiropractor?
I have not been to a chiropractor because I've been super nervous about my I have a CSF leak, and I've always
Mhm.
been really cautious about the spine and, the brain and all of that. So I would love to hear your take on it.
Well, I feel like I am probably like been a chiropractor in another life because I love to twist, pop, and crack. But I have been going to a chiropractor since I was 9 years old. It's the only form of wellness I ever had in my childhood. And little did I know that it was a holistic approach to medicine, unlike anything else that my mother had done.
Mhm.
And I learned so much. So think about this for a second. You know how you have your spine and you have the little jelly like sacs in there, and your nervous system actually runs through there. The weight of a dime, it's like 2.2 grams, I think. The weight of a dime on your nervous system, on your spine, which is called like a subluxation when anything's putting pressure on it, it can reduce your nerve function up to 60%.
Wow.
So when I heard that, because I used to go to all the like chiropractor clinics and stuff like that, because I wanted to learn what are you doing more than just adjusting me, because I want to learn how to take care of myself and support myself outside of the chiropractor's office. I don't want to be super reliant on it. But um, I have had so many different situations where you might get throbbing pain or you might have some respiratory issues, and you think, how is respiratory issues connected to pressure on my spine? But again, in the toolkit, I will have linked the spinal chart, but anybody can Google spinal nerve function chart and it will show you each individual vertebrae. It'll show you the root that it's connected to, and then it will show you that there's certain organs that each one is connected to and different symptoms you might find or experience that are related to pressure on any of those vertebrae.
Mhm.
So, for example, your cervical spine, like just your neck, it has a ton of blood vessels in there. So it affects your eyes. I don't even know what that gland is, so I'm not going to say it. Your scalp, the base of the skull, your diaphragm. So you think something in my neck is affecting my diaphragm? Absolutely, it can. It can have allergies, like heightened allergies as a symptom. You can have hand and finger numbness because a lot of people think, oh, I have carpal tunnel. And it's really something in here has got pressure and it's going all the way down to
Yeah.
your arm because it's referred. You can have high blood pressure from something in your neck being, compressed. So, one of the things I know you've heard me talk about how to find a therapist before in some of our past episodes about interviewing your therapist and so
Eh
on and so forth.
Mhm.
I say interview everybody,
Oh,
interview
yeah.
your chiropractor because I have learned that the twist, pop, and crack method actually does not work well for me. I
Mhm.
don't know if you know there's other
Mhm.
forms of chiropractic, but I find that they're inconsistent, right? Body isn't holding the adjustment because you have to do some personal muscle rebuilding at the same time because your muscles that get tight or out of alignment are going to help pull those vertebrae,
Mhm.
right? Side to side. But I find that every human will adjust me a little differently. And it's kind of hard on my body because then I tense up because I'm scared it's going to hurt or
Yes.
whatever the case may be, because everybody's so different. And along my chiropractic journey, there is one that's called the TRT, which is the torque release technique. But technically, it's this tool that they call the integrator. And it's like the only FDA type of chiropractic that's approved, so on and so forth, because it's like proven to have such high results. But you can look up online and find somebody that does this. But when they use the integrator tool, and again, not everybody's going to use it the same, so you got to find somebody you like. It puts like, I don't know, like 6 to 8 pounds of pressure, and they measure your feet by looking at them so they can see what's out of alignment. And they feel in your spine and they can feel where they're out of alignment for the subluxation. And they just put that little tool there, and it's just like a little thump, bump,
Mhm.
bump, bump, bump. So it's just a little thump, and it's super consistent for me. My body holds the adjustment so well. It's so gentle on your spine because, or on your neck, because I cannot have anybody try to touch my neck and twist it. And oh, that makes me cringe just thinking about it. But I've had so much success with chiropractic by doing this. And Charlotte, she went on a roller coaster ride that went 70 miles per hour like
Yes.
3 times in a row because she's got the need for speed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, that is a voluntary car accident.
100%.
And she comes out of there, she's nauseous, she's got migraines, she can't even you can see in her eyes, she has, like, this glaze over her eyes, and it's because she jacked her spine up.
Yeah.
I took her to the chiropractor, they did 1 treatment, and within an hour, you could see, like, the lights turned on in her face and in the way her posture changed and
Sure.
the way she's thinking and moving, and it's because that flow in your nervous system is now getting to those organs. So it can be something really, really minute, but there are about 7 different types of chiropractor techniques out there,
Mhm.
different services. Some are very gentle approaches, some are more aggressive, and I highly recommend you look at the different types, consider it, and find one that works for you because you would be amazed what it could do for you. Sandra, they have this little thing that just rolls down your spine and it assesses your nerve function. And it's just a topical thing. It's no x rays or anything like that. And they can tell if you have any nerve blocks and where.
I love this idea. Just, psyched myself out and been scared because of, kind of the troubles I've had with, my head and neck. So that all sounds great. And I had a long conversation with a wonderful chiropractor, and he was explaining a lot of the things that you were, but also he's like, people come to me with things like constipation
Oh, yeah.
and they get adjusted and it's just free flowing.
It is?
And I said, "Really?" And he was giving me and just a wonderful, wonderful doctor just sharing with me how this spine, because obviously it just lines you the majority of your body, right? So
Yeah.
how it aligns and it supports other organs. So, definitely a fascinating topic, and I think, I need to look a little deeper into it for myself for sure.
Yep. Your spine holds you up. So
Yeah, yeah. Give it some
it
love.
holds everything. I mean, I used to take Charlotte, when she was a baby, they adjust infants all the time. And
Yes.
you think about the birth process, coming through the birth
Uh-huh.
canal, that's traumatizing, right?
Mhm.
Like it can jack up their collarbone and their spine and all different things and their brain, the skull isn't formed yet either. Like everything
Mhm.
is very malleable. And so you can get a baby adjusted, and it's super easy too because they hold the baby and they just adjust it like that while they're holding them. And your baby will start stretching and start farting and
Yeah.
burping or smiling or stop crying. All of these reactions will be almost immediate because then they get that relief and their nerve function is aligned.
Yeah, and, the worlds of everyone working from home and sitting more
True.
often, it's just yeah, it's definitely something to, think about and consider.
Let's go on to another thing that I think probably hits home for you a lot
Mhm.
is what is the impact of unprocessed emotions on our physical health?
Girl, that
Right?
yes. Woo.
I'm like, this is your jam. And this is why we use the sense that shift us because emotions can get trapped. Even our intestines are muscle and muscle holds memory. And so if you're eating a dinner when you're having an argument with somebody or you're upset while you're eating, you can guarantee that your body, your intestines are actually tightening and holding on to that food. And it's going to take much longer to digest because your body's holding on to it. And I don't know if this happens to you, but boy, I mean, I don't hold my tongue often, but when I do, I will sit here, of course, and mentally ruminate over it, but I will feel in my throat like I am getting a sore throat or strep throat or something
Mhm.
because of not speaking up about something. And as soon as I finally realize it and I give into it, and it doesn't mean I have to speak up in a, aggressive way, but as soon as I find a healthy way to vocalize it, the second I do, I swear to God, my throat stops hurting that instant.
Oh my gosh, this is as I said, This is its own episode in and of itself because there's just so much. When you talked about the throat piece, one of the things that I used to do as a child is try to hold my emotions because there were bigger things happening around me. And I would do the same thing with my throat, and I would just feel like literally that my throat was closing. Like I just couldn't even speak because I was so captured by the emotion and it just stood there. Like right now, are you holding in your stomach? Are you tight somewhere? And every now and then while I'm working, if I'm in the car, if I'm somewhere, I'll just say to myself, release your belly.
Mm,
And I say, oh, I was holding my belly, like, right now I was, right before I
mm.
even said that, and it's this and for me, it's always that, like, readiness piece, right? Like, I feel like I'm always ready. Ready for what? I'm not gonna get mauled by a bear, but
Ready for a
that
fight.
that's always kind of yeah, or the other something to happen or
Mm.
a crisis or something,
Oh, wow.
and that's the nervous system there, right?
Mhm.
So unprocessing processing those emotions and having that release or that, just like the liver is talking to you at 2 in the morning saying, wake up, wake up, wake up, the tightening of the stomach or the shoulders lifted or the other thing that I do, and I know that my husband secretly notices this and he helps me with it, is that I ball my fists.
Oh, yeah, you were
So
telling me about that even when you
yeah,
sleep.
when I sleep, I ball my fist and I wake up and I have like my nail marks on my hand. So when he sees me do that, he'll like hold my hand or he'll be very sweet and kind. And so there's just so much to this. And I often say like, okay, what are we waiting for? Like,
Mhm.
why are we in this space? And, then I start to think about it and then start to think about different ways to process that. And the processing is the interesting piece of it because there are things that are in your body that you need to physically manipulate to get out, right? People say that you hold your emotions in your hips and
Mm,
you get a hip stretch and you are like bawling your eyes out or
mhm.
some sort of physical massage and you're just all of a sudden you're super emotional. And then there's other ways that you process through physical work, which is vibration plates. I've told you that
Mm.
with my vibration plate, I've not only used it for lymphatic drainage and for circulation, but when I'm super like anxious or just like that vibration, that moving of my energy gets it out of my body, right? And then of course, there's there's different things that you could do. So humming
Mm.
is a natural vagus nerve regulator. So
Ooh, I love
you
that.
hum or even sing because the vagus nerve goes down your spine, right? It activates it. So using those tools, those physical tools of humming, singing, shaking your body on a plate or doing it, all the things will help move some of that energy because stuck energy is going to accumulate, it's going to
Mhm.
calcify, it's going to just become bigger. And some way, somehow, it's going to be addressed. Some way, somehow, it's going to be looked at. And there's just such a huge impact of those unprocessed emotions. This is why it's important to have that community and that shift circle and that outlet because
Mhm.
I'm telling you, gone are the days that people just sit around and have coffee talk and just, share their lives, right? And
Yep.
it's more and more the newer generations, we're just not doing that enough. So,
Mm-mm.
girl, I can you talked about allergies being your thing. I can go on and on and
That's
on.
why I was like, I know this is your thing, and Sandra and I have all these parallels of things in our lives. They're the same but different. Like I read years ago, probably a decade ago, the book called "The Body Speaks the Mind," and the author was from Boulder, Colorado, and I lived in Colorado at the time, so I thought that was so cool. And then Sandra had mentioned to me a while back ago that she was like, "Oh, I love the book The Body Keeps the Score." And when we started talking about like our book notes, we're like, wow, it's really the same concept
Yes.
of what these two ladies are sharing with us, that if we have something that is unprocessed stuck in our body, it's going to express in a different way. So I don't know if you guys have gone onto our website under the shift list tools yet. We did link the app that I use all the time to read to you guys the sense and their emotions. But it's called the Essential Emotions app. And on our website, you can grab the link to get yours. It's like the best $10 I've ever spent. But I use it all the time because, oh, you can't see it. But there's a tab that talks about the emotion, the oil, and the body. And so kind of pairing it with things like The Body Speaks the Mind book and have it different ways to release these trapped emotions. I will look in here under the body if I'm having a shoulder issue or maybe my big toe on my left foot is throbbing for no reason. I didn't hit it, but I don't know why. It's like sending out an SOS signal. I'm going to look it up in here
Yes.
and it will give me a clue as to what I need to address emotionally. So, Sandra, give me something to look up. Is there anything like close your eyes and check in with your body and see if there's absolutely anything that's giving you a signal?
So I have a twitchy eye, and,
Okay.
my eye on it's my was it my I don't know if it's both, but my right eye is just twitching all day today.
Okay. So, I'll tell you what it means for the eye, and then I'll tell you what it means for the right side.
Okay.
So, eyes, the emotional root is clear sight and acceptance of what you see. Underlining emotions are pessimistic or purposeless, which in this app, you can click the underlining emotions and then it'll go deeper so you can see which one is relevant for you. And then it also will make oil recommendations.
Yeah.
But it says here, look deeper. Am I not accepting what I'm seeing? Is what I am looking at clear to me? So, for example, the thing that that's giving you patchy hope right now,
Mhm.
right? Again, it might be related to that. Do you want me to click on pessimistic or purposeless?
Pessimistic.
Okay. So then here it is giving suggestions of oils to evoke optimism. So,
Great.
spikenard, which smells like booty, wild orange, I mean, it's bad. So if you wear that one, it's effective. Just don't wear around any other person. Wild orange, peppermint, tangerine, forgive, sunny citrus, arise, vanilla, supermint. And then in this app, if you were to click on any of those oils, it would then give you a deeper dive
Oh,
as
great.
to all the benefits of that oil, like I read here. So now let's look under, you said it was the right eye?
Yes.
Okay, so the right side of the body means the future, the things to come, masculine side, and giving. Right side has underlining emotions of apprehensive, fearful, or worried. And then it always gives you a look deeper part, and it says, what needs to be resolved in me before I can move forward? Is my providing protection or masculine energy out of balance? So, anyways,
Hmm.
the future, in short, is the right side of the body. The past is the left side of the body. So it
Interesting.
kind of helps you find those clues to navigate what emotion you need to target.
Yeah, for sure. And, what this twitchy eye is trying to tell me. So
Hmm.
all of those clues and kind of bringing that picture together is fascinating.
Yeah. So, I mean, just imagine that you are carrying like this backpack around with you and it's just so heavy and it's full of emotional stress. Over time, this really is gonna start affecting different parts of your body. It's
Mm.
gonna be tight shoulders and maybe your posture's even getting distorted. You gotta release it. You have to find healthy ways to release it. Sandra gave lots of great tips. Somatic is, I think, kind of what you were explaining, right? Somatic work where it releases different,
Mhm.
like, body parts like the hips or the legs or I don't know. I've not done it, but I've heard about it.
Absolutely. And people will, it's just using your body as you process, right? So even some of the things that I mentioned, like the humming and the singing and using different actions to help
Mhm.
evoke and to process and to move through some of the blockages and the stuck emotions that are in that body part.
Well, your shift activations that you create, all this journaling, remember when you had us journal to our body parts and our
Mhm.
organs?
Mhm.
Like, I think that would be another great thing to help process those emotions because you were journaling to your like,
Girl, yes. And also, like, the fact that, once again, you always are in gratitude when something is taken away of the things that you've had, right? So,
Mhm.
you roll that ankle and then you have to live your life with, not your life, in the next 2 weeks, with a bandaged ankle or you're super sore and you don't realize everything is affected. You can't even, you can enjoy your life because you're sitting there and your attention is being brought to the throbbing as opposed to, let's take a moment right now and thank, the two ankles that you have, that they're healthy and that they're strong, that they hold your weight, that they can help you walk and run. Think about what your heart does without it being asked. It just does it
Mhm.
while you're sleeping, while you're at rest. You don't have to worry about it. So it's just fascinating how beautiful the body is, how all of it works together, how it is made just masterfully, and giving yourself some love, it will love you even more.
Yeah.
So,
So when you're doing that journaling, start with gratefulness and then use your clues, use your app to find those clues so
mhm,
you can start addressing it.
absolutely.
So I don't know if you fit into your genes or not,
Mhm.
but I have a mother effer gene.
What is a mother effort gene?
Do you have the MTHFR gene mutation? Do you
I don't
have it? Do you know what it is?
I so I've started to look into it. I don't know for sure. I don't, know how to figure out if I do or not, but there is a lot of similarities.
Okay. So you have signs and symptoms, but you don't really know what. Well, I have, which I won't say completely because you never know if kids are in the background, but I have the mother effer gene and it's the MTHFR gene mutation. And it is a gene in your body that tells your body how to make a particular enzyme in order to take the vitamin, not just folate, but your a huge range of B vitamins and turn them into a form of energy that your body can use to stay healthy.
Mhm.
Now, there's two variations, and you can have one or both. But let's imagine, for example, you're baking cookies and you're following a recipe, and maybe someone had a typo on the baking powder quantity in your recipe. You're still going to produce cookies,
Right.
but maybe they're not as fluffy. Maybe they didn't rise as much. And let's say if you had two variations of this mutation, which means you had 2 typos in your recipe, right? So your baking powder ingredients were a little off, and so were the butter ingredients. You're still gonna get a cookie, but it's probably gonna be a little hard to get down. It's gonna be noticeably dry and crumbly and things like that. Or you could look at it in the form of like a car, right? You have a car that runs smoothly, well, if it's like the MTHFR mutation, it's like the vitamins are the fuel, and you need that clean fuel for your car to go smoothly. But if there's a filter in there that's like a little clog, then it's gonna, I don't know, it's gonna kind of lag and it's not gonna get as much, what do you call that? Get up and go
Yep.
acceleration, right? If you have two of the mutations, then it's going to be like that big old cloud of smoke behind the car of the exhaust where you're like, dang, somebody needs to get that into the mechanic. So it's dependent on how obvious your symptoms are almost.
Mm.
So, with the MTHFR mutation, which I've done so many tests over the years, all by choice, but you can do it even when you do things like uh, 23andMe, which I don't even know if that exists anymore, but Everlywell. There's tons of different things like that. Also, our functional medicine physician did it for Ashton just because he wanted to look into some different health symptoms that Ashton was experiencing. So you can have private MD labs. You can just order your own lab and go to a Quest and get it done yourself. But you can find out if you have this mutation. And the reason why it would be wise to know is because you have to support your body in a very specific way. I'm super passionate about this motherfucker gene and getting rid of it, or not necessarily getting rid of it because you can't. You just have to actually support it to tame it. but it has affected me in so many ways for my whole life, and I didn't know that this was at the root of it. And
Mhm.
after all the labs of all the different health experiences that I've had over the course of time, they all align and match up with what I should and shouldn't be doing according to this gene mutation. So, things you might experience if these enzymes are not converting properly. You're going to experience things like homocysteine elevation. So think inflammation. Homocysteine is equivalent to inflammation in your body. That's pain and achiness and stiffness. You can get blood clots very severely. I even at super young ages, I would get them and didn't know what it was. It would feel like a bug bite and I start itching really hard and then all of a sudden your whole leg is black
Oh,
because you
wow.
just busted a blood clot. Like that's super dangerous. You could,
Yeah.
have an aneurysm that way. Like it's so not cool. Heart stuff, cardiovascular stuff. Yes, I have already been in the hospital earlier age for a tachycardia because I thought I was having a heart attack. You can have stroke and heart attacks weighs on you really heavily in mental things like depression, anxiety, neurological things, migraines, eye degeneration, which is something I'm working on my eye health right now, brain fog, neuropathy, hormones, PMS, fertility issue imbalances, fatigue, just that chronic low fatigue, detox pathways. Detoxing for someone that has the MTHFR mutation takes about 3 times longer. Say if you were a drinker and you all of a sudden like seem to get wasted super fast unlike other people, or maybe you're like nearly die after having 2 or 3 drinks. Not really, but it's extreme when other people are normal and they don't get the hangover. Maybe they have a light one and they can still function, and you are like, I need an IV, this is too much. It's because your body is not detoxing and processing
Mm.
these things the same way, and you can put yourself at some major risk that way. Toxin overload because of that, but also even medications. Certain medications that your doctor might give you for something, you have to have a methylated form of that. Otherwise, your body's not going to be able to process it and you're going to get toxin overload. Sandra, you know this one, connective tissue issues,
Yes.
big time for joint, skin, ligament problems. Some people have the hypermobility and or like their skin might look like it's detached from their actual muscle, or, women when you feel like your bladder is going to fall out of your body because it's just, you can feel the pressure and it's weak and you're like, God, don't make me laugh. I'm going to pee myself. Well, all of that is a muscle and connective tissue issue as well. And I have solutions for all of them. I'm putting together actually a book for this, or booklet. I don't know what you call it, but TMJ. TMJ is like 60% increase with people with this gene mutation and severely heightened allergies
Mhm.
because it's a form of inflammation. All of those are highly connected to the motherfucker gene.
Wow. There's a lot there that once again, people are, I'm sure, experiencing and chalking it up to, I need more energy or I need more sleep or I need just to like focus in on that one place, right? I have to focus in on my TMJ or my allergies as opposed to seeing the bigger picture.
In short, there are what I'm finding because I'm putting this booklet together as I am actually recovering from all of this because I didn't understand how depleted my body was all of these years because of my lack of knowledge, my lack of guidance in the medical industry. So I'm putting together this manual to how to test for it, foods to avoid and why, foods to incorporate and why, medications that can actually worsen the gene symptoms, just allergy reduction strategies, and how to speed up your detox pathways and things like that. Because these are just things I'm doing for myself and I'm seeing huge results in. And so I'm like, well, if I'm going to do it, I might as well document my journey at the same time. And then I can share it with everybody once it's done.
How
Definitely not done yet, but I hope that it is rocking and that I give a lot of people some resources.
That's fabulous because I think, it's hard to figure out where to start, what you should do, and having that pathway that you're gonna provide, I think is gonna be such a wonderful tool for many folks out there.
And
Looking
don't
forward.
wait on me, right?
Yeah,
Everybody can research. Everybody can
as
go
they should.
and ask their doctor, or they can order their own labs through private MD labs and get a test and find out. Like, you can start finding ways to support yourself very quickly with this. And number one is a good source of protein and collagen.
Mhm.
Who cares if it's in a powder? If you don't want to eat meat, or if you don't want to eat a lot of it, I even found supplements that give you those things, so you don't even have to make shakes and it's not powders. So start investigating, documenting all sorts of things. I want to teach you guys, Sandra, I'll let you be my guinea pig, but I want to teach you guys how to investigate the unexplained symptoms with body talk.
Mhm.
So I'm going to tell you guys how my process is, and you're going to have to make a system that works for you. I document my stuff after I've done the body talk. Some people might like to voice note it on their phone while they're doing it. Some people might like to type on the computer because you can do it with your eyes closed, or some people want to write it out. I just have it in my mind. And then once I've done my body talk, then I will document it. But you have to find what works for you. And these are our escape room clues, right? We're going to be collecting. And you have to remember, when you go to an escape room, they do not give you all the answers laid out on a silver platter.
Right.
It's little nuggets here and there. Like, they might be, for example, when I did my body talk, right, I got shown dried up Play Doh. They didn't say straight up, hey, girl, you're dehydrated. Your muscles are this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. And here's your exact prescription of what you should do. They were like, dried up Play Doh.
Mhm. I love it.
You have to work with the clues that you're given. So don't get discouraged and be like, I can't do this. I don't know what it means. Well, you have to activate this fun, creative part of your brain to play with your clues a little bit. So I always say, find a quiet space. I like the tub because I'm in my water, I'm relaxed, I have my private space, no one's around. Maybe it's in your car on your lunch break. Maybe it's sitting in your car a little bit before you go into the grocery store.
Right.
I don't know. Sandra, what's some other places of quiet spaces that maybe aren't what someone typically thinks of?
Well, I just go outside, go to a park or your backyard or somewhere close by where you could just sit on a bench somewhere, or just go to your bathroom. Just
I know I'm like, hide in the closet. I do that a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah. There's you can get creative with it, right? And I know it's crazy, but I've been using the library more, so I'm just, like, thinking,
Mm.
like, book some time at the library. Get your own room and space because no one's gonna bother you there, and you could do all the things that you need to do there as well.
That's true. I like that one. Well, when you do this, I encourage you to lead in one of two ways. You can, one, inquire about something specific that you're feeling off in your body. Like Sandra might have said, okay, body, tell me what is going on with my eye twitching, right? So she could have led like that. Or you can lead with, what does my body need my attention for right now? And it will lead you to where you need to go. So, one of two ways, either open ended like that, or you can be targeted. But let's find out. Someone's going to say, well, where am I going to find, see, hear, feel these answers? Like, how am I going to know what's what? Well, we all know we have this chatty Cathy in our brain that wants to talk smack and discourage us from believing anything that we're feeling and telling us that we're crazy or making stuff up. But we have to put her aside for this program, right? This body talk. You can deal with that stinking thinking later. Right now, this process is, every time I ask a question or you ask yourself a question, as soon as you ask that question, I want you to get into the habit of taking an incredibly deep breath. And the second you let it out, the first thing that comes to your mind, your senses, hold on to that. That is a clue. Do not try to rationalize it. Don't dismiss it. Just hold on to it. And so I want to show you guys a little practice here to help you find the part of your brain of where you're going to see, feel, hear, and know these things. All right. So go ahead and close your eyes, Sandra. I'm going to have you give a little example. And everyone, if you're not driving, then definitely close your eyes and try the same thing. I want you to just take a deep breath and think for just a moment something that of a food that you used to have as a child that you loved so much. And as soon as you have that item in your mind, I want you to smell the smells of that food. I want you to see how it was prepared or who brought it to you, whatever the ritual was around this food. And now I want you to see yourself enjoying it. What does it taste like? What does it smell like? What are the textures of eating it? And now, that part of your brain that you're accessing right now, I like to call the memory department because you are able to do all of those things with all of those senses. They're just not as textured or as intense as when you did it in person. So, remember this part of your brain because you can access it anytime. And if you need to always remember something that was awesome from a long time ago, it could be your grandmother or the perfume she wore or whatever it is, you can do this step first to get into this part of your brain. Sandra, were you able to access that part of your brain?
Yeah. Yeah. When even just you talking, and you said grandmother, it took me to grandma and, all of that. So absolutely. Yeah, that was a nice little exercise. And I was
Was
able
there
to like feel it and taste it and do all the things.
good? That's what I was going to ask you. Was there any sense of texture or smell or flavor that was a challenge, or did you feel like you were able to access all of them?
No, I felt like I was able to access all of them. I would say that the thing that didn't come out as strong was the sense of smell of what I was eating, but I definitely felt the other pieces of it.
Okay, good. And so, because of that, don't feel like you have to have all of them, right? But as long as you know that you can access that part of
Mhm.
your brain, that's what we're going to be using when we do body talk. And we're going to feel things in our body, right? We're going to feel like if we're relaxed and focused, maybe all of a sudden we didn't notice it before, but all of a sudden we feel a throbbing in our big toe, or all of a sudden our liver is pulsating and it never caught our attention before we started doing the body talk, but it's because you finally are giving it attention. It's trying to speak up. So, if you get stuck at any point of this exercise that we're going to walk through, remember, take a deep breath. And as soon as you let it out, the very first thing that comes to mind, hold on to it. If you get something after you ask, like, what does my body need to, or what do I need to pay attention to in my body right now? And let's say, for example, you only seen dried Play Doh. I might say to myself, okay, what am I supposed to do with this dried Play Doh? And then that's when I say they, because it's probably spirit or my body or whatnot, my soul is showing me the stretching motion. And so I did it in my mind's eye and was able to see that I can't stretch it. And I said, well, I can't stretch it. It's too dry. And they said, exactly. So that tells me, okay, that's how dehydrated my body is and was. And then I said to myself, what can I do to support other than water? And I heard collagen. I don't know much about it. Of course, I held on to all of these clues and then I did a deep dive and research. So, we're going to walk through this body talk flow chart before we wrap things up, and we're going to get our own experience and see what might come up. Sandra's probably going to have more than just her eye twitching, which is going to be a great example for everyone. But I encourage you, find a way to document it, either during it or after. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and get into our quiet space. And we're going to close our eyes. And I like to take my hands and rub them together with a very focused energy, imagining that I'm sparking almost like a warm, calm fire in between my hands. And this flame that's growing is going to unlock our first clue in the path forward to health. And when your hands got that flame and you're really good and warm, I'm going to have you put your right hand on your heart and your left hand on your stomach. And we're going to take that deep breath. And we're going to sense the warmth in our hands and feel the energy flowing. And now, in your mind's eye, in that memory space that we just explored, you're going to turn your attention to yourself and say with confidence, you don't have to say it out loud, just to yourself, I am strong, curious, and capable of figuring this out because you are. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions now. And every time I ask you, your job is just to take a very deep breath. And once you let that breath out, notice the very first thing that comes to you. What physical sensations are in your body right now? And we're going to take another deep breath. Notice any of these physical feelings like emotions, images, or any thoughts that may arise naturally. And now we're going to ask ourselves, what does my body need from me right now? Remember to take that deep breath. And now ask yourself a deep dive question that pairs with the answer you were just given or the vision you were just given. And we're going to take that deep breath again. And if you feel like you need to ask another clarifying question, go ahead and do that now. And once you feel you've gathered enough clues to work with, then we want to thank our bodies for guiding us and working with us in this escape room to get the clues together. And then we'll bring our awareness back to our space. And then we can take time to document what we've gathered, or we can just sit with it for a bit and do some and begin some research. It really depends on your personality. Sandra, do you want to share what came up for you?
Yeah, I when you asked, where does your body need attention? I was scanning my body and it was my head. My head needs attention. And as I asked the questions, I just started seeing just rest and I need calm, like not overthinking. And it also just said you need sleep. And maybe that's where the eye twitch is coming from. Maybe that's, all of that. And I started asking my body other questions like sleep is on the surface. What's deeper than that? So yeah, so it gave me an opportunity to not just have kind of the on the surface, like, yeah, I just need sleep. And if I sleep for an hour or take a nap, I'll be okay. It was more than that. It was like, well, what is keeping you up and why are you not resting and what is it? So it went from a physical space to an emotional space as well.
And I you can go really deep on these
Yeah.
questions, right? And as long as you can follow the thread to document it and see the clues and how to put them together.
Hmm.
I had an experience where what taught me to body talk was I kept coming up with these different blemishes and really weird spots on my body. And it could look like an ingrown hair or a mole or a pimple, but they weren't. They were none of those things and it didn't make sense. And I had went to multiple dermatologists and they would blow it off and give it some diagnosis and always something to not worry about, but I'm like, "No, I just know." And when you have that feeling, I mean, if you're a hypochondriac, I can't help you, but if if you have that feeling where you're like, "Something's just not right with this and I can't let it go," it's like nagging at me,
Yes.
it's something for you to keep looking into because that is your body talking and telling you. And so I tried this one night quite some time back, laying in the tub and you know, had the fire energy and I'm doing the assessment and I'm asking the questions. And I said, what is up with these spots on my body?
Mhm.
And if anybody remembers the Teletubbies from the 90s,
Mhm.
super annoying, but it was like, connect the dots, la la la. And I heard that and I was like, what? What do you mean connect the dots? And then I seen the picture. Remember the pictures we used to draw 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and it would form a picture. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Connect the dots. And I'm like, but why? But how? With what? And then I seen the acupuncture needles. And so I was like,
Mhm.
hmm. So I remembered I had a acupressure point book in my library at home, which you could go to a public library, you could look it up online, whatever. And I sifted through that book when I got out and I wrote down the 4 points that were on my body that I found in that acupressure book. And come to find out, they narrowed down to two different meridians. And the more research and symptoms and things that I associated with those acupressure points, I was like, wow, this is the detox pathways. And I think my pathways are blocked. It's essentially, it's basically like a hose that has like a weak spot, right? Like, and
Yes.
it's got so much pressure, it's got like a little bubble on it.
Mm.
And so I immediately went to my acupuncturist and I said, okay, I found these, I told her the whole thing and I said, can you do all the needles in those meridians and hit those points for me? And she was like, heck yes, I can. She's like, let's do this. She loves my experiments. And so after about two appointments, one of those blemishes was already softening.
Wow.
And then after, I don't know, I probably had like 4 appointments total, like, they are almost unrecognizable, like, they're like a very faint little scar at this point, but what also I noticed when these detox pathways started to open up more because of me pairing with my acupuncturist is I had some things I think people will know them as, like, liver spots or
Yes.
age spots where it looks like it's like a mole, but it's flat and that it's really kind of like they'll also tell you it's an overgrowth of skin.
Mhm.
Like they'll tell you all of these things. Well, if they are liver spots, think about this. I opened my detox pathways and now I'm doing all these things to support them. They're actually diminishing
Oh, wow.
all on their own. And it's because it's connected to the liver and the gallbladder and all of those things that we're clearly backing up. And so I find this fantastic. It's also associated with the MTHFR mutation, of course, with those slower detox pathways. But if I would not have asked those questions for the body talk, I would have not gotten those clues. And this also connects with why I might have more allergic reactions to things because my
Mm.
body is backed up on the toxins. So it's higher inflammation, higher histamines. So it all connects.
Wow, and the power that you have, right? Like, you can heal your body, and you have all of the tools and the messages and the wisdom, right? And that's where it's so fascinating and empowering, where you can say to yourself, "I don't have to just sit here and wait for a prescription or wait for the folks that, you know, just Western medicine where you just, could sit and just take pharmaceuticals or things like that." So I love the fact that we have the power and we also have all these resources that we can use to help support our journey.
Right? I mean, I wanna work in collaboration with my doctors. I don't wanna do just what they tell me,
Yeah.
and I don't wanna walk out of there without understanding why we're doing what we're doing.
Yes.
I do work with functional medicine physicians and chiropractors and iridologists and, you know, the dermatologist and all of these things, acupuncturists. Do choose a holistic method, but, you gotta find what works for you. As we wrap up today's conversation, though, I do invite you to step fully into the role of game master in your own health journey. Imagine yourself holding the power to uncover hidden clues with your body and mind, clues only you can recognize because you know yourself better than anyone else.
Mm.
By embracing this curiosity and collaborating with trusted health partners, and paying close attention to the subtle signs your body sends, you unlock a reality where feeling vibrant, energized, and alive is your daily experience. And that is for sure the one I'm trying to have.
Yeah.
So picture yourself navigating this escape room of health with confidence and clarity, open doors to healing, balance, and freedom. You have everything you need to create this life, your fullest life, your most vibrant life, starting right now. So own that power, trust your inner wisdom. The path forward is really all yours. Now, my shift activations are a little different than Sandra's, but she's just so like Sandra hits your soul every time. I mean, like your soul.
Oh my
Like, yeah,
goodness.
there's nothing superficial about that girl. But I want you to play games.
Mm.
You can do virtual escape rooms, you can do in-person escape rooms, you can do Sudoku, you can do all sorts of different things because it actually attributes to your mental health as far as your brain health,
Yeah.
right? Like my grandmother did crossword puzzles every day of her life and she was in her 90s and still sharp as a tack.
Yes.
So if you're doing it with your shift circle or your friends, there's some you can do independently. Do games regularly, not just I mean, yes, I guess you could do some video games are still fine too. I play Frozen.
Yes, we do,
That's
girl.
like, that's all I play for that. I don't really know video games very well, but all of these things help your brain.
Yeah.
Download the Beyond Symptoms. Can I get a clue cheat sheet that I'm making here for you, which is really just, you know, different ways how to do the body talk and all the resources that I mentioned. In our toolkit, we'll have some journal prompts. One of them will be when you first heard about viewing symptoms as clues through an escape room metaphor, did it shift the way you think about managing your health?
Yeah.
And I won't read you the rest because, I want you to download it and do the work. Come on now, people.
Absolutely. Like,
But
you have
say
to.
it.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead, say it.
Oh, no, the doing of the work is the most important piece of it. Like, you cannot no one's gonna have the same health journey as you are, and you know your body best. You have to take a responsibility in really figuring out those clues and doing that work. And this is just a reminder of like, hey, I didn't realize I had that resource. I didn't realize that face mapping was a thing. I just learned that today. So now it's like I'm going to practice that and see how that makes me feel, or the body talk. I think it's just amazing that there's just so many modalities, right? And, thank you, Jennifer, for bringing that to the conversation, because some of it I think is going to be totally new for some of our listeners. So it's really awesome.
Well, if you have a shift circle started with all of the different fun activities that we suggest and invite you to do here, like maybe that is the vibe of your group, right?
Yes.
Like maybe every month when you're meeting, you're having a healthy shift potluck and, everybody's bringing something healthy to share. But maybe each time you meet, maybe someone brings a different health approach that they're trying, like face mapping. And then that week,
Love that.
everybody face maps each other.
I love that. You start off with a game to get that brain going, a puzzle together, and then you can do your share. I think that's such an awesome idea, because even in my, friends circles, sometimes I hear this new thing, and people are talking about red light therapy, and people are talking about other things that they're doing, and it's like, tell me more. I want to learn more. So, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and everything is fun and community.
Yeah.
Even if you're cranky like me that doesn't want to leave the house, it's fun. You can do it all virtual too. It's fine. Well, make sure to check out our last episode about biohacking happiness if you missed it. It's one that honestly, even if you watched it, you want to watch it twice. It's so amazing.
Mm.
If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or YouTube, make sure to give us a rating. We love those 5-star ratings on
Ooh.
Spotify. Apple Podcast, you can actually leave us a written review, and YouTube, you can subscribe and share and comment. We love to hear your feedback. Even if there's something here that we talked about that you want to dive a little deeper in and you're like, "Hey, can you really deep dive on this, topic that you mentioned?" We will see what we can do to get it in. So, remember, go sip something yummy and it can be healthy. Take a deep breath and know that you always have us to talk shift with.
Bye, everyone. And that's it for today's shift. Thank you so much for sharing this space with us. If you're loving the conversation, become a shifty. Like, follow, subscribe, and most of all, share this episode with someone who's shifting too, or someone who seriously needs to get their shift together.
Do you have thoughts, questions, topic requests, or maybe you're feeling the nudge to collaborate, visit us at shiftsisterpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. We're so grateful for your presence, your friendship, and your willingness to do the work with us. Because shift happens and we're not meant to do it alone.
We'll meet you back here next time to breathe, reflect, and talk shift.